until the moment I
no
say happily ever after.
Okay. I'm sorry.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So he's just gonna act like nothing happened.
When Stanley
I'll listen,
came to
I'll
a
listen,
set
I'll
of
listen.
two
I'm sorry,
open
I'll
doors,
go.
he entered the...
Alright, so I'll just
Stanley
wait. Don't
was
put the
once
code,
again
because I'm not supposed to know.
stunned. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
I don't know, and I'm not putting it, because...
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Yep. I couldn't.
2845.
Yep.
Forgot. But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in.
But there's
and the
no
door
way.
just
I thought that's what I did wrong.
And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Wait, so what did I do wrong then?
Through the large door that read
Oh, I'll
Mind
escape this time
Control.
then.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it,
Wait, what?
the truth was that at the end of this hall,
Chill out.
Stanley would meet his violent death.
Guys, chill out, please, because I'm actually terrified now.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I mean, I kind of have to now. I just go, I'm closing my...
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
Wait, there's the...
it reflected that
Oh
his
my
life had
God.
been... Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh my God, chill out. Okay, bro.
Farewell,
What?
Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body,
I'm scared.
killing him instantly.
What?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever.
I'm just restarting myself.
What
I
exactly
think.
did the narrator think he was going to
Maybe.
accomplish?
But what is this,
When every
though?
path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes
Wait,
meaningless,
what am I playing
making
right now?
life the same. Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start? How they both wish to be free. But listen to me.
What is that?
You can
I thought that
still
was someone
save
walking.
these two. You can
What?
stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to
I'm
beat
not
this
doing that.
game.
I'm not.
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let
How did I
time
just...
choose for
Why
you.
did the
Don't let
narrator
time-
change? Why happened to the other guy? Like, I knew it was different, but why was she still here?
Stanley decided to go up to his...
I could go downstairs. I'll go
Stanley
downstairs.
walked upstairs to his boss's office.
There's no way. Where
But
am
Stanley
I? Now?
just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had
Oh.
left his post during work hours.
Yeah, it's a good
He
excuse
might
for
be
him.
fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of
Why do I keep-
existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
Like, the same
None
room
of
is
it
in
made
between.
any
Wait, no.
logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example,
Yes, that
why
I'm going in a
couldn't he
circle
see
or
his
something.
feet
Oh.
when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is
stop
all
talking 'cause I'm
too
scared.
strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined
Or just realize
himself
it's real and
flying
do something.
began to gently float above the ground.
What?
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared.
Wait, he's
It
either
was
magic
so
or actually
much
dreaming.
fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found
You're
it
just a narrator,
particularly
bro. Chill out.
strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it
But do
all
I have to keep
very
walking? Can I
odd
just stand
and
here and
wondered
listen?
if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want.
Wait, no, don't just restart.
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
There is no way that actually didn't work.
Stanley began screaming. Please,
What?
someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am
scared.
I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Wait, what?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked
What?
to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had
He just be
scheduled
talking.
for
He
that
does
day.
not stop.
The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.